A Kentucky lawmaker voiced his opinion on how tariffs negatively affect working-class Americans. And some Kentucky schools are hurting after a recent repeal of COVID-era funding.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Caroline Mueller. We are inching up on 5:30 this morning, and today's date is Friday, May 2nd. Let's check in with meteorologist Megan Desmold for a look at your forecast this morning. Now, Megan, I know it's been a little gloomy outside, but warm. So what is it looking like today?
Well, it's going to be another gloomy day for the most part, but we will stay on that warm trend as we're going through the next couple of hours. But this morning, we do have some fog in the region too, so make sure you're driving safely this morning. 2.5-mile visibility in Harlan. That's about the heaviest patch of fog we have. But like the past couple of days, I've been saying we have some low-lying clouds. So if you are driving in higher elevations, just make sure you're aware of that and driving slow. Here's a look at live pinpoint Doppler radar. We are nice and clear. We're going to keep on this trend for a while, so that's a good, exciting break from the rain. However, unfortunately, we do have those chances of storms entering back into the forecast this afternoon. That will continue into the evening. Current temperatures, upper 50s, low 60s, with high temperatures in the upper 70s, low 80s. Yet again, another warm day. We'll hit those high temperatures as we're heading into the afternoon, right before the rain chances really ramp up. Caroline.
Thank you, Megan. Wednesday night, the U.S. Senate voted on a measure aiming to block President Donald Trump's Liberation Day tariffs. Senate Republicans largely voted against the measure, but as Jessica Umbro explains, not all Kentucky GOP lawmakers are on board with tariffs.
The yeas 49, the nays 49. The joint resolution fails passage.
With Vice President J.D. Vance breaking the tie, a bipartisan resolution aimed at undoing the wide-ranging tariffs from President Donald Trump in early April failed in the Senate. One of Kentucky's Republican U.S. Senators, Rand Paul, helped to lead the charge on the measure, breaking away from all but two other Republicans and President Trump.
Our founding fathers gave most of the power to Congress because they didn't want one person to have so much power. They didn't want anything resembling a king. And so while I like Donald Trump, support him, I think tariffs are bad for Kentucky, and I'll continue to oppose them.
Kentucky's other U.S. Senator Mitch McConnell was absent for the vote. Senator Paul says tariffs would exacerbate what he says is an already rocky past couple of years.
Consumers, in many ways rebelled in the last election because inflation had driven prices up. All that's still sort of with us.
Along with both of Kentucky's U.S. senators expressing their concerns about tariffs in the past months, weeks, and even days, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear shared his stark criticism of President Trump's tariff-focused economic policy.
And I think the president's been very clear. This is his call, which means the economic harm that's being caused is directly attributable to him because he's owning every decision on this.
The resolution, if it had passed, would have gone on to a Republican-controlled House. The White House had already said the president would have vetoed it if it had landed on his desk. Jessica Umbro, WKYT.
There are leaders of Kentucky's national delegation who praise President Trump's use of tariffs. Kentucky Congressman Andy Barr, who represents the 6th District, repeatedly says tariffs on countries such as China, Mexico, and Canada protect American workers. Repairs are still underway for a plaza in Pike County that was destroyed by the February flood. Businesses in Weddington Plaza are gutted, and all of the debris is now removed, with city officials saying they are prepared for the next steps in the flood recovery process. Mayor Andrew Scott said the Planet Fitness is already back in operation, and there is a light at the end of the tunnel. He says he expects the plaza will only lose a few of the small businesses that decided to relocate.
They're making really good progress on the Weddington Plaza here in Coal Run. We're excited to learn that the vast majority of businesses are going to be returning, and there's quite a wait list for some of the new businesses that's coming in.
Scott said some of the businesses have not yet made their decision public about whether they plan to return. You can see a full list on our website. A dispute over a dog ended in gunfire in Whitley County Wednesday night. Deputies say a man was shot in the leg following a verbal argument on Sutton Mill Road in Woodbine. Whitley County Sheriff deputies responded just before 8 p.m. Wednesday night and spoke to the victim at the scene. The shooter has not yet been identified, but the case will be presented to a grand jury for possible charges. A traffic stop in Laurel County led to a drug arrest Saturday night. Deputies with the Laurel County Sheriff's Department pulled over a car on Kentucky 770 about 9 miles south of London. During the stop, the car's passenger, 42-year-old Amanda Carr of New Richmond, Ohio, was found with suspected methamphetamine. She was arrested and taken to the Laurel County Correctional Center. Carr is charged with possession of meth. A Kentucky man who claimed a multi-million-dollar lottery prize this week was arrested in Florida. James Farthing talked to reporters Sunday after he and his mother, Linda Grizzle, split a $167 million Powerball jackpot from a ticket bought at Clark's Pump and Stop in Georgetown. According to an arrest citation, Farthing was at a hotel in Treasure Island on Tuesday night when an officer tried to intervene in an altercation. That's when officers say Farthing kicked him in the face. Farthing is currently on parole for charges in Kentucky. Court records show convictions of tampering with evidence, engaging in organized crime, drug charges, receiving stolen property, and theft. He's being held on a $10,000 bond. A man has been found guilty in a drug trafficking case in Rowan County. Attorney General Russell Coleman announced that 55-year-old Moses Wright was convicted of trafficking cocaine after a jury found him guilty earlier this week. Investigators say Kentucky State Police found a locked suitcase with a kilo of cocaine worth $160,000. Hidden in a van Wright had driven to a home. The jury recommended a 7-year sentence. The Boyle County Sheriff's Office says they prevented an elderly woman from being scammed out of thousands of dollars. Deputies say they received a call Wednesday after the woman withdrew about $24,000 from her account. The scammer told the woman they were federal law enforcement needing money. The office luckily got in touch with the woman before she could deposit that money into an ATM.
Anytime the federal government calls you or talks to you, you automatically think, you know, I've got to do right.
Officials urge folks to be aware of new scams like this one. They say if someone pressures you to act in secret or say it's an emergency, it is probably not real. Some Kentucky school districts may be left to cover millions in project costs after a shift in federal funding. State officials say the federal government is not reimbursing certain COVID-19 relief funds, including money that was designated for school upgrades. In Knox County, that could leave the district on the hook for more than $1.5 million.
When you're talking that money, it would have to come out of our general fund, which is the fund we pay the electric with.
The state asked federal officials to reconsider on a case-to-case basis, but districts like Knox County are still waiting for answers. After years of planning, UK Healthcare officially opened a new obstetrics emergency unit. The 24/7 unit is designed for pregnant and postpartum patients experiencing urgent conditions, including preterm labor, high blood pressure, and bleeding. It takes the place of the old OB triage center and aims to deliver faster, more specialized care.
They should expect to see a provider really quickly when they come. They should expect to be able to get care quickly and have us work through the process of making sure that everyone is healthy.
The unit is located on the 3rd floor of Pavilion H at Chandler Hospital. It's that time of year with derby parties popping up throughout the Commonwealth as Kentuckians get in on the action.
And are you watching the Kentucky Derby? I'll have Saturday's forecast up next.